Welcome, magnificent, divine creature. You are the most brilliant galactic spirit. All you need to do is remember that you are part of the universe and the eternal whole, aspiring in our third dimensional world into that wholeness. And what I love so much about our birthrights is number one, you only have to pay attention to one a day, and all of them will create opportunities in your life to see greater opportunities in your material world, but also to explore your multidimensional spiritual world, which is our objective into how we are evolving our personal consciousness and planetary consciousness. And I love the 13-day adventure, the winds of change. The colors of the wind is what we are adventuring through right now. Each of them, each of the 20 birthrights are entangled with each other. They are all part of your wholeness. And this adventure is no different. Wind has multidimensional aspects, and we're going to talk about all those in a little while. We're going to talk about two-way connection to your spiritual self and to the galactic field, as well as possible two-way connection to others that exist in our world, other people living in our three-dimensional world, which relates to psychic communication and our ability to be telepathic with each other. So we're going to talk about all that in this 13-day adventure in this video. And we're also going to talk about where we are in the cycle, because that way you're seeing where we're going, where we are right now, and where we've come from. And by doing so, you'll be able to see how each birthright is a part of the collective whole. And when you integrate them into your consciousness a little bit every time you experience every one of them, there is no finality to this. Our expansion into our consciousness is expanding just like the ever-expanding galaxy. There is no end to the possibility. And why am I saying that? If you understand the nature of quantum energy and the expansion of the universe, our consciousness, as well as the expanding universe, is always getting bigger and bigger, and there's no end to it. The only end to your consciousness is your own limitation, and that is where we have been living for the past 26,000 years on planet Earth. We are in a time of great transformation, and all we need to do, with the help of wind, this 13-day adventure, the winds of change, as well as all of the other 20 birthrights, is to choose, make a conscious choice to be willing. Do you want to live in the conscious state that we have already been living in, doing the same thing day in, day out, thinking the same thoughts that we've thought about before, experiencing the same emotions? Or do we want to experience the unknown, bringing in new adventure, new intuition, new communication through the unseen, new divine messages, which is what our adventure right now is all about. So that's what we have to look forward to in this adventure. But where are we right now, and where are we going? A lot of us want to track where we are in the wheel of 260, and I'm going to show you this chart. This is a map of evolutionary consciousness, and as I've mentioned before, each one of these little squares is one nuance of one of our 20 birthrights. And there's 260 of them. What I've never showed you or explained to you before, so always stay tuned because I'm always going to share different little nuggets as I'm inspired to do. I put a little paper clip where we are on this journey of 260, and you will notice there are 13 channels, 13 rows, if you will, and we start going down the channel. And as we did a few cycles ago, we did the center channel with both the left and the right hemispheres, if you will, the left and right hemispheres of this map, the left and right hemispheres of our brain, the internal and external worlds. I'm just giving you a little bit more history here. We went through in the center channel all 20 of the energies in this very, very important mystic channel. And we talked about that on a video like 3 or 4 cycles ago, and how, if you'll notice the whole grid here, it looks like DNA. Yes, and there are special green days. Those green days are days filled with divine messages. And on galacticspirit.com, when you are tracking the energies and the videos of your daily birthright, when there is one of those green days, they're called the gap day. It's a portal day where you can where the veil is much thinner, and we can have deeper communication with our spiritual self, with our divine breath, with our spiritual voice, because the veil is thinner and our communications are much higher, and our ability to receive information from the divine matrix, from the collective, from this universal consciousness is much easier to do. And interestingly, and this is why I wanted to show it to you, with the 13 channels across, we are now in the 12th channel, which is next to the last channel, and each of these channels has a specific function. And there's 13 of them, the same way there's 13 moons. And if this is number 13, if there's number 12, look at the macro and micro. You know what? I'm going to explain something right now. If you don't understand it, it's okay. Just file it away, because one day you're going to have an aha moment and you're going to think this is the grooviest thing ever. So here is the cycle of 260 days, and we're in the 12th channel of 13. And that is the macro energies. And this channel is all about communication and sharing what you learn. It's universalizing all the information that you have now been integrating into your consciousness, and cooperating and beaming your light with others. And so if this is the 12th channel of the 260, think in terms of the micro energies, which we talk about every 13 days, 13 dailies. 13 days make up an adventure. 13 channels make up the entire birthright energy of 260. So as we go day number 1, day number 2, day number 3, and all the way up to 13 in our cycle of 13 day, take a note of this. When we go through our 13-day cycle, like we are starting day number 1 right now of wind, we'll do day number 1 of wind, day number 2 of wind, day number 3, all the way to day number 13. And yes, feel free to look at the progressive videos, which I've put together for you. Since when you get to day number 12, the day before we complete fulfilled gratitude and progressive evolution, we are crystallizing this energy of cooperation, of giving back, of beaming our light. And it is the same macro energy of this channel. Again, if you didn't understand that, you can, and if you want to, you can stop the video, listen to it again, or just file it away. so you have it for a future date, and it will be very exciting for you once the light comes on. But you don't need to know this at this time. This is just a nugget of information that I wanted to show you how the system worked. Remember, if you pay attention, if the only thing that you do is pay attention to the energy of the day, on the energy of the day, you bring it into your consciousness multiple times of the day and watch how that specific energy unfolds during your day, you will see how that information will create synchronicities and give you guidance on what actually shows up in your external world. That's one of the major benefits of Galactic Spirit, because it is real energy in real time, according to the ancient and galactic Mayans' observations on how our multidimensional psyche works. Hold on to that. If you want to replay the video to get that again, please do. But for now, I want to move on, show you one more thing about where we are with this cycle of 260. With this cycle, here is the beginning of the wind cycle, and there's 13 days. Looking at it another way, I love props. Looking at it another way, here's wind. We start on day 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way to 13. Looking at it this way with our progressive chart of ascension, we are in wind. There we go. We're in wind, and we go all 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way up the channel, right? All the way up to 13. And when we look at the DNA chart, if you will, the entire map of 260, the map of consciousness, this is where day number 1 starts, and it happens to be on a DNA portal day. So the first day of the wind cycle is very important, like every single of the 260 days are, to absorb those energies and see how the daily birthright relates to your day, and how it will give you guidance as you're paying attention and you're being aware. And here's a secret, everybody, the greater your awareness of how the energy is unfolding during the day, the more insights you're going to get about the energy, and the more that birthright is going to integrate in your consciousness. So on the first day, it's a DNA day. It's a magic portal. And on galacticspirit.com, when you watch the entire video and energy of the day, you will see the special energies and what they mean. So that is one of the aspects of Galactic Spirit and the ever cycling of time. And since we are looking at this map, as we go through day by day, experiencing the birthrights every day on the 12th channel, we ultimately go down to the 13th channel, all about gratitude and fulfillment, then to start over again to deepen our cycles. Because every time you experience one of these birthrights, and I've been practicing and paying attention to these energies since 2012. I don't want to do the math, it's scary. And I was familiar with Galactic Spirit since 1984. So every time I experience this, it gets deeper and more enriched for myself. So I am sure the same thing is for you too. Where we are in the castles, this map is broken down into 5 segments itself. They are called castle energies, and I've showed you this before, and you can get this image on galacticspirit.com also. So here's the 5 cycles of 52 days. They all make up the 260, and we just now finished the moon cycle. Here's a little here's the image of it. What did we do? We talked about fluid transcendence. How does fluid transcendence help us with our spiritual voice and our divine breath. Well, if you've been paying attention to the cycle of the moon and what it means, it's how are we having freedom of unwanted thought and emotions? Because if in fact we are hung up with thought and emotions and we're not allowing our inner soul purity, which is what the moon is about, and watching the ebb and flow of the emotions and the emotions in our monkey mind coming in and gently taking them aside and stepping into our spiritual selves without this replay and being trapped in our emotional minds. If we've practiced this, then our two-way connection of our spiritual voice will be able to not only recognize it better, because our monkey minds, our thoughts, our toxic thoughts and our toxic emotions that hold us trapped trapped in past traumas or circumstances that are happening in the day. If we're stuck in that mental loop, then we will never hear our spiritual voice or connect to our divine breath, which gets me to a very important point. When you start appreciating all of our 20 birthrights, you will start recognizing how all of them are influencing each other, which gets us to a place of wholeness. So going back to our castle here, I just want to show you this and then start really chewing in on our two-way telepathic communication and our communication with the divine matrix. We are in the 52-day cycle of infinite consciousness. There's four 13-day adventures in each of them, and we are in universal wholeness. We started, like I mentioned, with the moon, being able to use our fluid transcendence to be free of our mental and emotional baggage that keeps swirling around our heads, to get us out of negative thinking. And now in universal wholeness and experiencing the voice of you, universe, your voice of you, your expression of yourself, we are now in wind. And as we start finishing wind next time, let me just give you a hint. We'll do it now instead of at the end. We move into eagle, which expresses all of unlimited vision and seeing a broad view of circumstance. So why is it important to understand your spiritual voice and starting to have that communication? So as we get to eagle, you will have a broader view, a wide view, as well as a bird's eye laser view on what information is being brought to you, and have wider scope. So when we talk about how each of these energies, let's show you this image. When you talk about how each of these energies are integral to each other, and how each birthright is a stepping stone and progression to your universal wholeness, you'll understand the excitement of not only evolving your conscious galactic spirit, but tapping into the universal galactic spirit, you being the bridge, not only for your divine spiritual breath, for your two-way communication with the universal galactic spirit, but you being a beacon of light to help in our Earth's transformation. All of us have been trapped in third dimensional thinking for a very long time. We are in the place of the prophecy of all the indigenous, where we are having an evolutionary shift in consciousness. So that's where we are right now on a global picture. Let's hone into our spiritual voice. And how do we start having, I'm looking for an image here. Here you go. So spiritual voice, and moving up or down or up. It doesn't matter how you look at it, because it's a two-way street, up or down the 13-day cycle of how we're evolving our spiritual light and our spiritual consciousness. So I love the song. I love the song from Disney's Pocahontas, and that's why I'm wearing all these beautiful colors for you today, the colors of the rainbow. The colors of the wind. I think it was Pocahontas, one of our indigenous sisters, who sang it, that if you start paying attention to the voices, not only in your head, that come from last cycle's innate fluid transcendence, your soul purity, and listening to the voices on the wind that are communicating with us all the time, then you are opening up two-way two-way communication with multi-dimensions. Now, there are psychic people in the world. I think we all are all psychic. I feel like we can all do this. I just know from working with mediums and some of my own experience, and I wouldn't say I'm a medium, but I know without hesitation that when I am quiet, that when I've tapped into all of my birthrights and I am quiet and I stop thinking, secret, stop thinking, is when your psychic communication can come through, when your spiritual voice can come through. It's having your ego step out of the way in order to go into no mind, go into no thing, no body, no space, and no time. And we practice this a lot in every time we do one of our videos on each of the journeys. But I'm just going to quickly do this with you. So I want you to practice getting into it so we don't have to do it every time. Bottom line, a little meditative practice to ground, feet flat on the floor, ground your energy into the crystalline core of Mother Earth. It holds the information of past, present, and future, everything that has happened on planet Earth and will happen. That's one of the reasons why quantumly you can see into the future. There's a beautiful quantum explanation of how you can see into the future. Okay, I opened up a can of worms, so let me share it with you. I think it's Greg Braden who explains this so well with an image, and I'm going to try to give you that image so you can see what it looks like in the future and how quantumly it's possible. Let's say you are watching water in a stream going down the stream, and there's a rock, or there's a post, or there's or a body. You're standing there, so you can do this experiment for yourself, and the water is flowing downstream, and and the post or the body, your body or the rock, is representing present time. And here you're watching the water, and the water is going around, let's call it a rock for all intensive purposes, the rock of Mother Earth. So the water is going around the rock in present time. So the water that's after the rock is our past. And we, standing there, can look at the water in our past. But when our minds, and we have to think, we have to quiet our mind to be able to think about the past. But the past is easier to think about because it's already happened and it's gotten in our cellular memory, right? But so here is this water moving down the rock, or let's say we're standing there, is present time. But what about the ripples, the backwash that hit the rock and go backwards? See that visualization? You might need to do the experiment to see this for yourself, but if you remember standing, at a stream, on one of your beautiful hikes, and you take pause. Galactic Spirit is all about taking pause, seeing the unseen, looking at, having new ways of looking at things based upon your galactic birthrights and the energies that you are building upon every day. So the water's passing, and this is the back, I want to call it backwash, but it's really not. It's like flow. It's like the water starts flowing backward. That is the future that you haven't yet seen because you have not seen it in present tense. That is what Mother Gaia is holding, because she knows of all the possibility. And of course, as we're grounding ourselves as the Skywalker, it's one of your birthrights, the channel between grounding in Mother Earth and the ever-expanding galaxy in 360 dimensions, not just one dimension or one dimension this way. It's 360 degrees of our auric field. We're like this cosmic sphere of galactic intelligence. That is our radiance, that we have the ability from activating the electromagnetic particles of our body and radiating it out into the ever-expanding galactic field, and we are this sphere of light in this as a Skywalker. Feel free to go back and learn more about Skywalker. We've already done it. Remember, we're doing it every 13-day cycles. We have another, and that's an example of how all of these birthrights build upon each other. How the one in the past, Moon, is being fluid transcendence with our innate pure self, and how we'll move into Eagle to have a broader bird's eye view as well as a very focused bird's eye view. So learn the lessons of spiritual breath and get better and better at it in order to see this third dimensional world. So now we're in this space. We are in the place of remembering our 360-degree auric field in connection to Gaia, Pachamama, our earth crystalline core, and to the unknown, ever-expanding universe. How do you want to communicate with it? Take a breath. Don't think too much. Don't think at all. It takes practice to focus on the void, the nothing, the no space, the no time, the no thing. You are no thing. You are no body. You are an energetic auric field connected to the divine breath. Here's the multidimensionality. You're connected to the divine breath with your divine breath to hear the spiritual voice with your spiritual voice. That's the multidimensionality of your galactic birthright of understanding wind. The colors of the wind. It is the place of higher thought. It is the place of insight and divine messages. And this is the place where you have access to 24/7 when you step out of your third dimensional way. Things are not solid, they are fluid. Everything exists as fluid. Nothing is solid. We know how atomic structure works, how quantum structure works. We know that the stuffs within ourselves are energetic particles, the same soul stuff, the same star-seeded stuff, the no matter of galactic space that's expanding the galaxy of no time and no space. So when we get out of our third dimensional way, and the harder part, which we practiced last cycle with Moon, getting out of our fourth dimensional way, our monkey minds, and our emotions that keep spinning in our head, and going into the space of the unknown, concentrating in the blackness of nothing, and visualizing that always getting bigger and bigger as your 360-degree energy sphere of your galactic spiritual self, your multidimensional sphere of your galactic self, floats in a sea of nothing. That's where you become like the breath between your mouth and the end of the flute, the song that comes out of the flute. And as you inhale, that's where that breath of communication allows you to come in. So it's a two-way connection. Think in terms of a piece of a bamboo. You want to visualize yourself as a piece of hollow bamboo. It's okay. Connected to the root of the earth, opening its solar panels, those beautiful leaves at the top, to welcome that communication in all the way through your spiritual channel. You are the flute, you are the bamboo, you are that spiritual channel that can say, bring it in. And all you have to do is ask. I don't know how many spiritual teachers I have heard say, all you need to do is ask and open up your consciousness. Get out of your way, and the true answers will come in. Now here's the question. Do you trust the truth of these divine messages? A few cycles ago, we did warrior. It's about being brave. Courageous determination. We need to step out of ourselves into what's familiar, because if we're holding the place of familiar, no new communication is going to come in. And from my own experience, and I practice this. And the best way that I know to hear your spiritual voice is to first start practicing in the shower. It's so interesting how moon came before wind, because moon is all about the tides and and universal waters washing away our toxicities. So as we stand in the shower, it's a beautiful way to listen to your spiritual voice, because you can, once you visualize all of your emotions being washed away, or the weirdness of the day and the weirdness of the circumstance. I don't know, I'm making this up, because every day has external forces that we need to train ourselves to respond to, not react to, huge difference, and allow them to pass through us. So when we're in the shower, that is the perfect place to practice no space and no time. And once these messages start coming in, and you know, because they're coming from a place of love, that you know that you're receiving these perfect spiritual voices. And then once you know what that feels like, you can start practicing on command. I want to talk about on command for a second. One of the benefits of Galactic Spirit, of paying attention to the birthright of the day on the birthright of the day, and watching how its energy and its influence provides insight into circumstances that are happening within your life now. And you'll get aha moments through synchronicities of how those energies unfold for you. When that starts happening, these energies and their images, which, as we all know, images existed before language. Think about cave paintings. We couldn't speak cow, we couldn't speak star, because we didn't have words for them, but we certainly could draw their representations on our cave walls. And these images of what these energies are come into your consciousness on demand. That's one of the major benefits of practicing this work. I don't want to call it work. Practicing this practice. Because it does get more exciting, and the more you start seeing those synchronicities, the more you will want to see them. So practice in the shower, and then on command, you can go into this space of no space, no time, no thing, no body, connecting to the earth, connecting to the ever expanding galaxy, no space and no time, and ask. These insights will start coming through for you. And the more specific you are with the questions, the more the answers will reveal themselves very, very specific and with great clarity and quicker than you ever imagined. Even though I really recommend you detaching from the outcome when you ask, because holding on to that attachment, what does that do? Your ego mind and your ego emotions have that predictability of the known as compared to the unknown. This is very exciting and very quantum stuff. You know, there's no way really to do this meditation with you other than to say, trust yourself and start asking. I know for myself, and I use this technique all the time in addition to the shower technique. I'll go into that space that we've been describing, our 360 degree sphere of galactic light. And if there is something that I do not know, or I'm stymied with something that's going on with my life, I will ask the specific question, and almost for sure within days, the answer or the right place or the right time or the right circumstance will reveal itself. And practice makes progress. And then you need to be able to discern whether it's true. And the moon cycle before that helped us with that. Is that our innate connection to the divine matrix that is giving us this information? Or is our ego and our third dimension and fourth dimensional body, mind, and emotion in its way because we're trying to control the outcome? Now, I'm not saying that galactic spirit isn't of free will, because it is. You have to choose to practice. Is our destiny cut in stone? No. Our ability to tap into our divine breath opens up the ever-expanding possibilities of our quantum reality. That is galactic spirit. And the more we practice this, the better we will get at telepathic communication. Knowing the right time that you're going to pick up the phone and the person's going to be answering, that will be there to answer. In our busy lives, we are so busy doing all these things. And how many times do you leave a voicemail? And then the person calls you and leaves another voicemail, and you play this telephone tag infinitum, and it gets frustrating. Whereas if in fact you were connecting to your divine voice and receiving those spiritual messages, you would get the indication of when that person would be available at the moment that you know that they will be there. So that is telepathic communication. Right place, right time. And ask, will that person be here when I'm picking up the phone? Your divine self, your divine breath will know that answer, and you have to trust it. I had a circumstance the other day. I knew something wasn't right. I knew it wasn't working right, and I allowed my third dimensional thinking. Practice makes progress. It doesn't make perfection. To hold on to an expectation that I knew, because I received guidance from my spiritual breath, that I knew was not going to play out. Tick-tock, time's ticking away. That's why to trust our instincts in fifth dimensional time is so valuable and important for us. So the more you tap in to your spiritual breath, the more your consciousness will awaken. The more you'll be able to trust it, the more you'll see, and the more you will start living in fifth dimension, your ever-expanding consciousness, higher minded, higher vibration, taking your 360-degree beam and beaming it brighter and brighter, not only as a manifestation for your multidimensional success, but to be that catalyst for others. That's why the 12, yay, I found it quickly. The 12 and going down this channel is all about giving it away. So take these 13 days, go up your progressive channel of seeing, sensing, and feeling beyond your third dimensional five senses, and really moving through your spiritual breath. Your colors of the wind. Take pause. Take time. Trust your ability. Next up, as I mentioned before, is Eagle. Eagle is expanding your vision into the unseen. So as you're opening up this channel with your spiritual breath, you'll be able to see more vision with greater capacity, not only from a broader view, but from a microscopic view. How does an eagle see that tiny critter that it needs for sustenance, the ebb and flow of life, from soaring up with the clouds? Broad view, as well as focused view. Every birthright has multidimensional value. And we are growing our light together. From my heart to yours, namaste. The light within me honors the light within you. In Lakesh, I am another yourself. Explore your spiritual breath. See the multidimensional communication. You're receiving communication from your ever-expanding universe, and you as a beacon of your ever-expanding consciousness are radiating that energy back into the universal field. See you next cycle. Big love.